So we get to the main event. Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship. Hands down, I mean, I know this is a bold statement, but this very well might be my favorite match of 2014. And I'm talking about, I don't watch like the independents, like I said before. I don't watch New Japan or Chikara or whatever else, hardly even Ring of Honor, of WWE and especially of TNA. I mean, that goes without saying for TNA. But this very well might be my favorite match of 2014. I mean, I was making the list yesterday, and I'm probably going to do it in a Bleacher Report article in the upcoming future, in the very near future. And the Shield versus the Wyatt family is on there. The Shield versus Evolution. Daniel Bryan versus Batista and Orton in the main event of WrestleMania. And I mean, all those moments and matches were amazing and all, but everything about this match was perfect. There was nothing about this match that stood out to me as being a flaw. This was an absolute flawless matchup if there ever was one. From the build-up to the atmosphere to the people involved. I mean, maybe you can credit the referee bumps, there being two of them, as a flaw. I didn't really see it that way. I didn't really see it as being much of a problem. I didn't really have much of a problem with it at all. But if anything, I thought it added to the matchup, especially when Sami Zayn almost hit Adrian Neville with the title. You saw the whole crowd going no. I was going no, watching it home on the WWE Network on my laptop. I thought that might be the moment where they turned Sami Zayn heel. I mean, I had flashbacks to WrestleMania 17 where they did something similar with Austin. So I was hoping they didn't go that route. They wouldn't go that route, and they didn't, thankfully. But even the tease of it I thought was awesome because this whole build has been around Sami Zayn being desperate to win that NXT Championship. And Adrian Neville came very close on several occasions to retaining his title, that there were a lot of awesome near falls, no interference from Kevin Owens, and we'll get to him in a second. But Sami Zayn setting up for the from the Helluva kick, I think it's what it's called. I mispronounce it all the time. You know, it had that feel from the look on his face. He wiped his face. It looked like this is the moment. You can feel it in the fans. You can feel it in Sami Zayn's eyes. You can sense it. This is it. This is a moment that we've been waiting a year and a half for since Sami Zayn's debut on NXT. Hits the Helluva kick, gets the 1-2-3, place comes unglued, new NXT champion crowned. Love the post-match celebration. Like I said, everything about this was so freaking amazing. And I mean, it's amazing because RJ and I were talking about this a couple of days ago when I talked to him about this show, that it is absolutely asinine, absolutely mind-boggling to me that WWE's own competition is their own developmental territory. Like last night on Raw, there was a lot of NXT chants during one of the matches. I think it might have been the New Day versus Golden Stardust, and I absolutely do not blame the Detroit crowd for chanting that, if only because it's true. NXT is so much better booked. And I know you can credit, it's an hour show, it's nothing like the main roster, but it's not even about the time and whatever else. It's the storyline techniques, and I don't know who's on creative. I know Triple H is in charge. I know it's like his baby, but just everything about this matchup, everything about the show I thought was great. There was really nothing that stood out to me as being bad. If anything, everything on this show ranged from either good to absolutely phenomenal. And that's what I thought this main event was. The match I thought was stellar. And I mean, of course, the match may be on par with the match quality of Shield and Wyatt family, or Daniel Bryan versus Batista and Orton, or Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, both of those WrestleMania 30 matches. And I mean, granted, I know you can say that Daniel Bryan also had that kind of, that build as well, that people waited a long time, but even then, Daniel Bryan's build went from SummerSlam of 2013 to WrestleMania. So give or take 8 or 9 months. Sami Zayn's road to redemption is what they've called it. His road to the NXT Championship has been going on since this guy debuted on the company in NXT. Since he first faced Cesaro, his very first night in. From the time that he came up short against Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship a year ago. From the time he lost to Cesaro at Arrival. From the time he lost to Tyler Breeze. From the time he lost to the Fatal 4-Way. The consistent booking with this guy. I don't know if it was ever planned from the start or what, if it just happened to fall this way. But I mean, I don't know. It just made for one hell of a moment. I've gone back and watched it at least a dozen times in the last few days since I record this. As I recorded this, in the last 5 days, I've watched it. I mean, I get goosebumps every single time. It was just so great. But afterwards, anyway, Kevin Owens comes out, or the entire roster comes out. They celebrate with Sami Zayn, made for an awesome moment. Picked up on something because I did go back and watch the first ever Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville matchup from NXT. In NXT, not in like the indie scene. It was from about a year ago. It was number one contenders match for the NXT title. Adrian Neville won that match. And afterwards, Sami Zayn kicked out Adrian Neville's hand and then hugged him, much like Adrian Neville did here. So I don't know if that was intentional or what, and if it was, kudos to them, 2 thumbs up. I thought it was awesome. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So I thought that was great. But the roster clears out. Sami Zayn gets his moment with the NXT title. Kevin Owens comes back out. He was the first one to hug Sami Zayn, also the last one too before he left. But as they're walking back up the ramp, the logo comes on the screen. A lot of people, RJ included, he was telling me about it, how he turned off the show before he could see this happen. And then Kevin Owens out of nowhere lays out a vicious clothesline of Sami Zayn and delivers just a mind-blowing powerbomb to him on the side of the ring, at ringside. It was freaking insane. It looked like it hurt like hell. And just a great finish to an amazing show. Everyone saw this coming. I mean, we talked about this last week in that we thought Kevin Owens would have some sort of say, play some sort of factor in the finish of the NXT title match. Thankfully, he did, and they saved it until afterwards. But even then, I mean, it wasn't like he debuted here. He debuted earlier on in the night, so that gave people the impression like, oh, I mean, he did what he needed to do for the night. He had his match. He's done. He'll come out for an appearance later on in the night. So I thought that was it. So when he turned heel, even though we all saw it coming a couple of days prior in advance, it still shocked the hell out of me. I thought that was an oh baby boy moment if there ever was one.